John Antrobus is has been a colleague of yours on many of the things you've written, a friend of yours.
Yes.
I'd like you to hear him talking about your time in the army during the war.
I think Spike found the German army in the war less of a threat than he finds the income tax people and the accountants and the overdrafts of today. I mean, they're more abstract and vague, and there never seems to be a release from them. And I think this is how Spike feels. In the army, you had your pay, you had your uniforms, your meals provided, you had your comradeship, you had the ever-present risk of death. But perhaps that was the thing that would least worry Spike. I think he finds civilian life much more worrying than being in Africa or Italy.
What's your comment on that?
That's a brilliant analysis of what life is like, yes. Roll on World War III. So right, yes, I suddenly realised you can get to grips with the enemy, but you can't get to grips with civilian life, overdraft. What can you do about an overdraft? No. Take it down on a piece of string or keep it in a cage. You know what I mean?
Were you tempted to stay in the army?
I did stay on, actually. I stayed on I stayed on, when I could have been demobbed in 45, I stayed on 46, rather than come home.
And were you attracted by that kind of security? I mean, some people like the formality of the army and the way it rigidly controls your life.
Yes, I've suffered army discharge withdrawal symptoms ever since I left it. It was very secure, very funny, and if you don't get killed, very good life.
And what are the withdrawal symptoms?
Well, the security went out of my life. Suddenly, I'd never had an overdraft in the army. If you did, nobody worried about it. Suddenly, there you were face to face with A, unemployment, B, where you get your next meal, clothes, rent, rates, taxes, overdrafts, all this sort of thing. You know.
Did you ever think of going back into it?
No, I never did. I never did. No, I think I wanted to try and make a go of the entertainment world.
Do you have any habits left over from military life? I mean,
yes, I sleep with my socks on. It's true. I'm sorry. Yes, so just suddenly realised that. Yes, I sleep with my socks on, and I swear a lot when I'm angry. I swear a lot, terrible lot, and I talk like a soldier, of course. You know.
You came out of the army with a disability pension, didn't you? And you had a mortar shell land near you at Monte Cassino, I think.
Yes, I think actually I landed near the mortar shell rather than it came to me. I was running towards somewhere, and if I'd have stayed where I was in the first place, I wouldn't have copped it. See, I was asking for it, really.
Has that affected you? Is that still
No,
something?
No. I got a cut in the leg, you know. I was very glad about that. I thought, thank God, at last I've been wounded, you know. I'll get the pension now. And what happened was I was also out of my mind. It had completely unbalanced me, you know. I was stuttering and stammering and giggling and saying to the sergeant, can we have the next dance over the precipice together, darling? Things like that. And they took me to a first aid station somewhere, and I've never recovered since.
You mean that?
Well, it did change me, yes. I suddenly found that I couldn't take any large amount of stress. If any stress is involved in my life, I immediately start to go under and become depressed, you know.
And before the war, that had never happened to you?
No. I was very happy, easy, outward-going boy, you know.
Just one thing on the war. In the books you've written, very funny, bawdy books about the war, one of the characteristics that comes through all the time is that you don't seem to think very highly of the commanding officers, the officer ranks, with the exception perhaps of your own commanding officer. But was that something that you felt very strongly, that you were, as Pommies, got done down all the time?
No. I don't. I loved all the officers I had. There was one or two idiots who met chaps hanging their teeth out. But in the main, they were very splendid. There was Lieutenant Button, was very good. Lieutenant Wright, and also well. Bowman Smith. There was Major Chater Jack, a marvellous officer. No, did I take the mickey out of the officers? Must have been a lie. No, I'm certain I didn't, David. Read it again. Read volume 3, when I'll write it all out. I'll say, I love my officers. Yeah.
When the war ended, there was a period of doing various things before the Gun Show began in 51, I think, and ran through till about 60.
It was called unemployment.
It was called unemployment. I want you now...